Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. If you're watching this video, then you're probably pretty aware of what we're doing today. It's Sunday, and we're going to do our devotional this week. It's Christmas week, okay? So, real quick before we get into that, this week we're going to have this devotional on Sunday. Then we'll do video on Tuesday and Wednesday, and the devotional will be on Friday, okay? So it's going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, then devotional on Friday, because obviously Saturday's Christmas Eve and Sunday is Christmas, so we're taking the break there. You're going to take a break there as well. And that's just what we're going to do. Then we'll get back next Tuesday, okay? So it should be the 27th with regular videos. Hopefully we're going to be able to hit it hard and get sticking to the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday schedule. We'll see how it goes. I'm hoping that's what we're going to do. But we got a lot to do, obviously. It's Christmas, right? Everybody's got a lot to do. So, that being said, let's get into this devotional this week. Last week we're in John chapter 11, by the way, which is what we're doing, going through the entire book of John. John chapter 11 is where we're at, and we're going to finish it up this week on this one. Okay, and last week we talked about Lazarus being raised from the dead, and God's timing, and doing things in His own way, even when we don't understand it. Okay, that's what we went through last week. So now, after that happened in the book of John, the Israelites, the Jews they're like, hey, this is kind of crazy. What's going on here, right? So we're going to look at here, and we're going to start in John chapter 11 and verse 46. Okay, verse 46 says, but some of them went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. So, hey, they're going to the Pharisees. Hey, this guy's raising people from the dead. What's going on with that? In verse 47 it says, then the chief priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of the Sanhedrin. What are we accomplishing, they ask. Here is this man performing miraculous signs. If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him, and then the Romans will come and take away both our place and our nation. Then one of them, named Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year, spoke up, you know nothing at all. You do not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than the whole nation perish. He did not say this on his own, but as high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the Jewish nation. And not only for that nation, but also for the scattered children of God, to bring them together and make them one. So from that day on, they plotted to take his life. Therefore, Jesus no longer moved about publicly among the Jews. Instead, he withdrew to a region near the desert, to a village called Ephraim, where he stayed with his disciples. When it was almost time for the Jewish Passover, many went up from the country to Jerusalem for the ceremonial cleansing and before the Passover. So there it is. We're not going to read the last two verses there because they were just talking about Jesus and going to the Passover, and that's not what this is about today. Okay, it's not what this is about. You see, the Jewish people there were having trouble. Mostly the rulers, mostly the people who were making the decisions for the people, right? But a lot of them were having trouble because Jesus was not doing what they thought the Messiah should do. So therefore, they didn't think he was the Messiah. And really what concerned them the most was that they were under Roman rule, and they thought the Romans were giving them, religious freedom to an extent, and the Romans were ruling over them, but allowing the Jewish people to rule their Jewish ways. So while they were still inside the Roman Empire, so that was the concern, is that, hey, the Romans are going to come away and take away our religious independence. They're going to come to do this and do that, and we're not going to be in charge anymore. And we can't have that, because then our government's messed up, our power's messed up, and they were legitimately concerned that Jesus was going to interfere with their own ideas. You see, their idea for the Messiah was that he would come and he would rule, and he would give them freedom over the Roman Empire, that he would overthrow the Roman Empire, that he would come with power and authority government-wise, that he would be their new leader, that he would be their new king on earth right then, and that they wouldn't have to adhere to the Romans on anything. But the fact is, Jesus came for the broken. He came for those people who were far from God. He came for those who were oppressed. He came for those who were poor and lowly in spirit. He came for those who were cast away. He came for everybody, right? He came to unite the rich and the poor in this world. He came to unite them all under one head, being God. That's why he came. He came to redeem the nation of Israel and to save everybody. And that just didn't sit well. Well, Jesus didn't sit well with how the leaders of the Jewish nation thought. See, the reality is their perspective was off. Their perspective was affecting how they saw their purpose, right? And then their perspective was about their politics. So their politics was outweighing their purpose. Do you know anybody like that? I don't know. We gotta do that. I think we do that today, don't you? See, the fact is that these people couldn't get their heads out of their political butts long enough to understand that the purpose was not government. Their purpose, Jesus' purpose, and the purpose of God was salvation, was redemption, was unity, was joy, peace. Was people who were blind were able to see. People who were dead were coming to life. People who were sick were being made well. That purpose was far greater than the politics, but the politics was so important to them that they couldn't get past that. So their politics became their purpose instead of their purpose dictating their politics. Have you ever met anybody like that? I know a lot of people like that, right? But we do the same thing. We do the exact same thing. Is that we got to understand that Jesus came for a purpose. That purpose was not politics. That purpose was not our own ideas. That purpose was God's idea. And God's idea is salvation, is unity, is bringing people who are far from God near to God. That purpose is healing. That purpose is joy and peace. That purpose is for those who are poor to no longer be poor. That purpose is those who are oppressed to no longer be oppressed. That purpose is for everybody to get along, to love each other, and not to be living a life, by the way. Okay, what I'm saying here isn't necessarily this worldly view of unity. Okay, it's a godly view of unity. I want to be very clear about that. I'm not talking about do what you want no matter what. I'm talking about unity under God. There's a difference, big difference. Okay, I want you to understand that. So, I guess what I'm getting at is this week, as we head into the Christmas. This is a week of Christmas, right? Christmas is 1 week from today. As we head into this season, let's understand that our purpose has to be a God purpose. Okay, our perspective needs to be on God's purpose. God had a purpose for Jesus coming. God had a purpose for Jesus being born in a manger. God had a purpose for this whole story. This whole story, no matter how crazy it sounds, no matter the turmoil that was going on, no matter how ridiculous it may seem, there's a purpose for everything inside that story, and there's a purpose inside of your story. Your story with God, your journey with God, your walk with God, your life, there's a purpose inside of that. And as long as our perspective is focused on things other than God's purpose, then we're never going to accomplish that purpose. We're just going to be living with a warped perspective of how our life is going. All right. So let's get our perspective on the purpose that God has for us. All right. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I hope you tune in Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. All right. And if you have any prayer requests or praise reports or anything positive, I don't want to hear your negativity, no, but anything at all, we'd love to hear from you and pray for you. Okay, so thank y'all for watching. We do appreciate it. My name is Jason. It's Art of Creation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.